Hello everybody, my name's David, I'm an addict. Just sat here while he was talking, looking at a sea of really serious faces. And suddenly the weight of expectations that I put on myself was horrendous. And then Michelle's gone down there and stuck me under the spotlight. Having already told me off not to be tippy-tapping on the table because she's recording. So, thanks for asking, Tone. It was kind of lastminute.com. Divine Providence. I was on the phone to him at the time when the original share couldn't make it, and he does that thing. Oh, can you do it? This is my home group night. This ain't my home group. It's my home group night. But sometimes God steps in, and I need to act. And the truth of the matter is, God steps in a lot. Wow. It's funny, you know. It's when I'm sharing, I start to get emotional. And I don't know why. It happens to me a lot. There's probably a lot of share tapes around with me crying on the thing. You would think I'm a miserable bugger, but I'm not. And it tells us that, you know, to share what it was like, how we got here, and what it's like now. And you often hear people say, well, I've only got one story, but actually my story's changed. I've been around a minute, and as time goes on, you know, and life happens, my story changes. The one thing that's remained a constant since I truly surrendered, not like that fake surrender when you first come in and you got a few pals, and you know, I speak for myself, and I was going to meetings because Youth Guys was the best youth club in town. There's a lot of attractive, vulnerable women in here. A lot of Youth Guys had dodgy Adidas trainers on, and if you wore Reeboks, we'd all sit there in the corner going, they're going to relapse next week. Yeah, we was really caring, kind, and understanding when we come in. And I came here because I had nowhere else to go. I've got to tell you, right? I mean, look, it's quite a big meeting. There must be, 30, 40 of you in here, something like that. And in the early days, I'm a bog standard addict. You know, towards the last 10 years of my using, I ain't sitting with 30 or 40 other addicts yakking and all that. What I'm doing is I'm scoring my gear in the dead of night with my little 3-year-old kid, meeting people that are probably going to try and kill me or steal my money. And then I'm going home and hiding in my bedroom, and I'm using it till it's gone. There's nothing attractive about my using whatsoever. None of it. So I don't want to be with you lot when I first come. There's this other thing I've got going on. Because of the life I've been leading, what's happened is that I've so lost myself. I look at myself in the mirror and I cry, even when I'm using, because I just don't know who I am and what I've become. And I'm doing things that I said I never would do. I'm not morally a bad guy. I've never been a horrible, nasty kid. That's just never been me. But along that journey of addiction, wow, did the darkness creep in, you know. And towards the end, the stuff I did out of desperation, thank God for step 9, I've had to go and face some things, some horrible stuff that I did. So we've established I don't like you lot. And because some of you are smiling and happy, and you've obviously recovered, and I'm petrified. But what's happened is I've been in a treatment centre and they've all loved me a little bit. And I sat there and I pretended to be a counsellor in the group. And then when you ain't looking, I go to the counsellor and I grass you up. Because I'm a man of integrity now, you know. And I eat the steak pies. I'm still eating the steak pies. I eat the steak pies and I put on weight. And this mad thing happens to me. So I go from this terrified 10 stone 7, one-toothed Neanderthal guy who walks into a place that he doesn't want to be. And 6 weeks later, when I've eaten all the steak pies and grassed everybody up, I'm leaving, and they've given me some money to buy some trainers. Social Security have anyway, and I rock up out this detox into a rehab in Weymouth, and it's mad because I turn up with one carrier bag, and in this carrier bag I've got a genuine Paul Smith shirt. Weren't a fakey, it was a real deal. My mum had bought it for me for Christmas, and it meant so much to me, this shirt. I don't know why. I'm surprised I never sold it, but I didn't. But all that's really happened is that I've put on 2 or 3 stone, but I'm still as lost and confused and as frightened as the day I walked in. In fact, I'm a little bit more frightened now because I've moved further away from home, because I did all my using at home. All of it. Right. All of it. I'm still living with my mum at 43, do you know what I mean? It's like... So I end up in Weymouth, and I can't let you guys see I'm scared because I'm Dagenham Dave. You know, and that's what it's like. That's really what it's like. And I am sharp-edged. It's not that I don't want to punch you in the face, because most of you I do. You know. Because you wouldn't let me tap my fingers. But I don't do it because I'm tough or anything like that. I do it because I'm scared. And what that means is that all the years that I spent isolated and in fear, I'm now in the kind of society, and I've got to learn how to be amongst other people. And I don't even like myself. How can I start liking you guys? So I start going to meetings. And what happens is I get caught up in that cycle of... And it's an ego thing. I don't even know it's an ego thing, but I get in the cycle of, do you know what, I'm going to go and earn some cash in hand, painting with Tool Rob, painting some front doors. I need a bit of extra cash, but I don't want to tell anybody about it. I want to be, because my whole life I've been dishonest. You know, my dad was dishonest. First time I got put inside a prison, my dad come and visited me in the police cell, and I thought he was going to beat me up. And he loved me and hugged me and brought me 20 fags and said it was the best thing since sliced bread. And it was such a terrible thing to do to a 16-year-old boy. What a terrible thing to do. But my life has been all about that. So I want to impress you guys, because I want to impress you. If I can't impress you, I want to scare you. Because I don't want you to get too close to me, because I'm really frightened you're going to see something in me that I can't even see myself. You know, when you're doing that step 4 stuff and your sponsor goes to you right at the end, you got any secrets? It's like, oh, come on. Needless to say, I had a secret. I ain't telling you, like, you can hold your breath all you like. I'm not going to tell you what it was. So I don't want to go through the steps. I want to keep coming to meetings because it's a laugh, and usually I ain't going to kick me out. I ain't got a sponsor. I've got a Ford Sierra Sapphire though. And I've got a little cash in hand job, and I'm dating the girl from college. Teacher from college, get hold of that. And I get 7 months clean. And I get a flat, lovely flat, and all you lot come and help me decorate, and it's stunning. And the day after we finish decorating, DJ, he helps me. What an interior designer, right? If it's left that Dagenham David, let's not even go there. But, and I get up the next day, and do you know what? If you was outside looking in, I've now got cash in hand job. I'm doing a college course. I've met a beautiful teacher in college, and we're falling in love, which is amazing. And we did stay together for 10 years after that. That's a whole other story. I've got the car, I'm going to meetings, I ain't got a sponsor. I don't understand what this stuff is written up on these white boards that you guys have got, the steps and traditions. I'm not even interested. I don't like reading books. So you want me to read this dusty old blue book? It's like, come on, don't you know who I think I am? I get to this 7-month stage and my ego kicks in. And I had this epiphany after the day after my flat was decorated. I got up and I walked in there, and you know, it should have been one of the most beautiful moments of my life. So I've been living with my mum forever. I've been using for as long as I could remember. I was totally lost, and this place was like a palace that I had. And I walked in there and I burst into tears. And I couldn't understand why I burst into tears. And I sat on the floor sobbing my heart out. And I realised it's because I couldn't appreciate anything. I was never really grateful for something. You know, get me a blue Ferrari, the next day I'm going to want a red one. And I sort of reflected back, and it had always been like that. And that was always an indication of what I suffer with. So drink and drugs was not really my problem. They was part of the solution to a problem that I already had, and that problem was me. Something inside me. My family didn't have it. I come from quite a big family, 7 of them. None of them had it. None of my cousins got it. My mum and dad's families with 14 kids between them, with all the wives, and none of them had got it. So I didn't know what else to do. How long have I got left? I've been waffling, haven't I?
No, you're right. 8 minutes.
Right. I'm going to speed up now. So I do what I've always done, because I've got nowhere else to go. I don't want to be in this brand spanking new looking place that's mine, that was given to me by someone else who in this fellowship. And so I go to a meeting I've been to 100 times, 200 times. And I see this guy, and this guy's doing a share like I'm doing, right? Now, I'd seen him about eight weeks before. And what I spotted about this guy in the meeting wasn't his serenity, his peace and his calm and his demeanour and the way he carried himself about like someone who'd recovered. He had these tan, hush puppy shoes on. So I didn't even talk to him about recovery. I went and said, I can see you ain't wearing Reeboks, mate. You're obviously really well. You know? And asked him where I'd gone. Jump forward 8 weeks later, I'm sat there and I'm in bits. I'm broken. I'm not smiling. I'm not happy. I've had that moment of realisation where I recognise that nothing in this earth is going to make me happy. Man, what a bad place to be. And a little Scottish friend of mine took me to this meeting. And this time he was doing a share. And they say that, look, I'm not going to hide any of this shit. God's the dude. And I don't care what version of God you've got, and that is the most beautiful line in the book that we work our program recovery out of, is that you can choose the power of your own understanding. What a freedom and inviting thing to have. And that's amazing. So I'm a big God fan. A lot of you know I once studied to be a vicar. Obviously it didn't turn out too well because I ended up here, but that's a whole nother share as well. And what happens is I go up to this guy again after he shares, and I was convinced that my mate John had set it up, because he was saying stuff about him that was about me. I was absolutely convinced, and initially when I approached him I went, did John say something to you? And he's looking at me going, what? And so I said to him, will you sponsor me? And he said that thing, that blooming line that we all say when people come and ask us, are you willing to go to any lengths? And do you know what? I never even considered it. I was that desperate. I just said yeah. And he was a bit of a taskmaster, this guy. Despite his nice, calm, easygoing, laid-back attitude, he wanted me to do some stuff. And he said, right, start tomorrow, call me in the morning. Buy a big book, let's get going. I'm a bit like, well, hold on, can't start next week, because I'm like that. But it wasn't like that. And we set to it. And I'm so glad we did. And within, I think it was about 13 weeks, I was like going, making amends, like step 9s. They wouldn't let me sponsor until I'd read, I'm tapping up. I can't remember what the name of the book is. You had to read that, and then the group that we started, which you all probably know how it works, I wasn't allowed to sponsor for a year, and that was that. And the first 3 months I had to sit there and be quiet. He'd just say to me, look, because I go to him, oh, I know. Shut up, you don't know. And do you know what? He was right. I didn't know. And although it was hardcore, do you know what? It taught me stuff. And that was 2004. And I'm still here. And that meeting's still thriving. This one's thriving as well, but that meeting's still thriving. And I was blessed to be part of it, but there were 7 of us in the beginning. And first meeting of that meeting for us was a steering meeting at my sponsor's house in Swanage. I was only a number of weeks in, and I was with my little Scottish friend, and I remember going outside the fag with me going, we should have brought a car, we could go. They're talking about traditions and tradition 7 and you're going to be this, you're going to have this service position, and we're sitting there like, but we did, and we followed. And do you know what we needed to follow? Because I didn't know. And he said this most beautiful thing to me. Because I used to keep saying, all right, Paul, yeah, no, I know. It's so, yeah, I know. He said this most beautiful thing to me, and it was loving. It was really loving. And he said, look, David, you're new. You don't need to know. So just be new and allow yourself to learn something. And do you know what? I just felt this whole weight come off of my shoulders, because I was just scared. I wanted to impress people. I didn't want you to see me. What a man. Sobering part of this is 2 years later he went out. That's 21 years ago. He's still out. And I've had other sponsors who've had names like Matt the Message, and like real amazing teachers. I mean, Matt was like the most amazing guy I ever knew. And he's not with us. He's with us, but he's not with us. And I can reel off a whole list of people who are either out there or people who are dead. A whole colour. So what we've got is a real serious illness. I know we're not a glum lot, and we do have fun and all that kind of stuff, but I've never once questioned who I am and what I am. And I've never once thought, I've done enough now. I can take my foot off the gas. I can take it easy. Because I've seen hundreds, thousands, I've got to say thousands of people over the 23 years do that and not come back. Not come back. Some of them die and they leave wives and children. And recovery isn't all fairy dust and sunny days. You know, in the book it tells us certain trials and low spots ahead. You've got to be prepared for it. You have to be on your game as much as you can be. And life turns up. It does turn up. But I've got to say, and it's a truth for me, and I know it's a truth for all you lot. So even on the worst days any of you have ever had, the hundreds and thousands of them while you was using, and even some of the trials and tribulations and certain low spots that we find when we're in recovery, even for all those, you've got through them. You're here. You're doing it. What that tells me is that fear that you had that was trying to nail you down, somehow or other you found enough faith to get the courage to walk through that. And you're still here doing it. Because we're all fundamentally flawed human beings. And yet here we are, all coming together as one, trying to carry a message to someone who doesn't know about this stuff. The greatest thing I ever did was ask for help. And then it starts. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks.
Lovely. Cheers, David.